There is still no case of the Omicron variant here in the country, but the health department admits it's tracking down two people suspected of having the new strain. For Britain's health security agency, it takes a booster to fight Omicron. An expert notes that booster shots significantly restore protection against the highly mutated variant. But for now, only over 700,000 Filipinos have received a booster shot since the rollout last month. In other news, friends and family of slain journalist Jess Malabanan are calling for justice. Authorities vow to hunt down the suspects. Meanwhile, another journalist, Ressa, has become the first ever Filipino to receive a Nobel Prize. In her acceptance speech, Ressa remembered the experiences of fellow journalists in the Philippines, including Malabanans. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your Sunday. I'm Riza Diaz. The health department recorded over 350 new COVID-19 infections on Saturday. The caseload still stands at above 2.8 million, some 11,300 of which are still active. Now, the virus killed at least 135 more patients yesterday, pushing the death toll to over 50,000. Survivors, meanwhile, are now at 2.7 million with more than 870 new recoveries. Only 1.1% of 35,300 tests recently conducted turned out positive. Meanwhile, the health department continues to locate two OFWs who are suspected carriers of the Omicron variant. In today's Laging Handa briefing, Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergel said the agency is coordinating with local officials to help trace them. They indicated addresses in Region 4B or Mimaropa and Region 10 or Northern Mindanao. Now, the two OFWs arrived in the Philippines last month in the same week that the Omicron variant was reported to the World Health Organization. Vergere assured the public that the two OFWs tested negative upon arrival and the DOH will be doing retesting. Vergere also said no genome sequenced sample has detected the Omicron variant so far.
There was no sample positive. Naisama po natin dito yung isang arrival from South Africa kung saan lumabas po yung sequencing result na ito po ay isang variant na B.1.1.203. Hindi po siya Omicron, ito po ay hindi variant of concern or variant of interest.
Booster shots have significantly restored protection against a mild disease caused by the Omicron variant. The UK Health Security Agency said this based on a study of over 500 people with Omicron variant. Now, the research shows that 2 doses of AstraZeneca and Pfizer provided lower levels of protection against symptomatic infection. However, after receiving a booster dose, there was an around 70 to 75% boost in protection against symptomatic infection. UKHSA also reiterated that Omicron has a growth advantage over Delta and a 3 to 8-fold increased risk of reinfection.
What we see is after the booster dose, and that happens quite fast after the booster dose, in early analysis, probably at 14 days and even up to just even 7 days, that effect is reversed. And actually what we're seeing is, no matter what your backbone, whether you had Astra or Pfizer, you've got a 70 to 75% vaccine effectiveness for a symptomatic disease.
Meanwhile, Philippines continue to administer booster shots to eligible individuals. As of December 10, over 736,000 Filipinos have received their booster dose nationwide. 54.5 million people have already received their first dose, while around 37 million doses were given as second dose. Now, in total, around 92.3 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the country. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Friends and family call for justice after journalist Jess Malabanan was killed in his own home. Authorities vow to resolve his case. Romy Lopez has the report.
Justice for Jesus Malabanan, this is the clear message of each tarpaulin outside the wake of the slain journalist. Jess, as they fondly call him, was a known good Samaritan in the area. That's why support for his bereaved family overflowed. His wife Mila and other family members are lost for words, but they continue to demand for justice.
So sana matulungan kami na mabigyan hustisya yung tito namin. Sana matulungan din kami at mapukusan ng buong Kalbayog. Dahil ang Kalbayog lang talaga ang Muslim, maraming gumagawa dito ng hindi maganda.
Malabanan's nephew added that he pitied those less fortunate individuals that the journalist had been helping for years. He was active in helping small farmers to protect their land ownership against individuals with influence.
Siya lang tumutulong dito sa amin. Sino pa bang tutulong sa amin kung yan lang po talaga? Uwi lang po yan ng Pampanga, magbabiyahe ng Samar para tumulong lang siya dito. Yun na nga, iniisip namin na wala lang tutulong sa kanila.
Malabanan was shot dead inside his house in Calbayog, Samar last Wednesday night. He was a long-time stringer for Reuters, an international news agency. The victim was later pronounced dead on arrival in a hospital. Authorities have yet to determine the culprit's identity and the motive for the killing. But the PNP Samar said they are on top of the situation. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security is also doing its part to resolve Malabanan's case. Executive Director Joel C. Egco said there's a possibility that the motive is not related to his work as a journalist. He explained that they are looking into land dispute as Malabanan supposedly got into farming when he moved to Samar.
Sinisilip po natin yan, yung mga usaping lupa, baka may nakaaway siya roon. At doon po tayo nakasentro ngayon, doon sa lugar kung saan siya pinaslang. Dahil dito po sa Luzon, kung saan siya nagtatrabaho, wala po kami makitang kaaway niya rito.
Jess' cadaver is now being transported back to his home province of Pampanga. For News 5, Romy Lopez. We are One News.
The Vice President once again congratulates Maria Ressa as she accepts the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. Ressa also paid tribute to fellow journalists, including those slain for speaking truth to power. Let's hear more in this report.
Journalist Maria Ressa made history as the first Filipino to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. On December 10, Ressa received the award along with fellow journalist Russian Dmitry Muratov in Oslo, Norway. This year, the ceremony paid tribute to the world's persecuted journalists. However, before Ressa was able to fly to Oslo, the government tried to stop her by tagging her as a flight risk.
I didn't know if I was going to be here today. Every day, I live with the real threat of spending the rest of my life in jail because I'm a journalist. When I go home, I have no idea what the future holds, but it's worth the risk.
In the end, the Court of Appeals decided in favor of Ressa. In her acceptance speech, Ressa called out tech giants and said they have the responsibility to fight disinformation and its effects on democracy.
Social media is a deadly game for power and money. If you're working in tech, I'm talking to you. How can you have election integrity if you don't have integrity of facts?
Ressa also paid tribute to fellow journalists who are currently imprisoned or killed. She then urged people to fight for democratic values.
Democracy has become a woman-to-woman, man-to-man defense of our values, where we can continue down the path we're on and descend further into fascism, or we can choose to fight for a better world. To do that, please ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice for the truth?
The Office of the Vice President honored Ressa. Vice President Leni Robredo noted how Ressa's continuous fight for the truth brought pride to the Philippines. Robredo also commended Ressa's achievement, saying she reflects one of humanity's highest ideals, courage in service of others. Meanwhile, for Agusan del Norte 1st District Representative Lawrence Fortun, Congress can honor Ressa properly by enacting the Student Journalists' Rights Act. He added, this is to fill the gaps left by the Campus Journalism Act. Aryan Kalumbiran, we are One News.
Now for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Ressa Diaz. We are One News.